What's good, BitRushers? My name is Kyler, and this is BitRush Crypto. Today's video is going to be real quick, just talking about the price of Bitcoin and how we are ready for a massive move one direction or the other. So let's go ahead and just get right into that. You guys can find all of the links for anything important in the description below. Make sure you sub to my channel, bell to be notified on future content. Pound the thumbs up on this one, and here we go. Alright guys, starting out today right away on the one-day chart here on Bitcoin. We're looking to move across this kind of X. We're still below our trend line that in the previous video I talked about breaking. And if you guys watched that last video as well, I mentioned we are at a critical point here. The next couple weeks we're going to determine the next several months in Bitcoin's price. And we actually haven't really done much. We could stay basically the same. We broke above that trend line and did not hold it. We came back down and kind of been chopping here across, using it as resistance. So we need to break back above that trend line number one here, basically today or tomorrow. We need to look to stay above that trend line. So even though we're still moving sideways, and we're moving sideways kind of below the level that we were looking to hold, things do look good zooming back into the MACD. So we could see our previous trend line I had drawn here from the top to that other top here, and we've broken that, and I put another upward trend line here touching on the couple points that we've had where it kind of came up and then back down. And also just below this one, I could probably move it up a tiny bit and touch it on that. But I was kind of trying to match the shape up above here, you'll see in a minute. And we're looking to basically hold above that either way, even if we break below this new trend line that we've kind of created. As long as we're up above this downtrend, I'm still feeling rather bullish on the current market. So we're building back up, guys. We need to get back up to basically like, the zero line here. And once we can build up above that, which is why it's so important to stay above this one, we don't really need to be on this trend line here. I just kind of put that on there. But as long as we're staying above the downward trend line, fairly bullish here still on the overall market sentiment of Bitcoin. So we may turn back around. As you can see, this one could loop back around and do another little drop down, and we could come back down here. That would be a bearish scenario. But for the most part, I feel like we're going to hold here, and we're starting to see basically into about August. We should be kind of in a upward movement, even if it's still moving rather sideways in terms of market sentiment. I believe, it's going to be more towards a bullish trend. However, guys, I can't predict the future, and the market right now is looking, on the actual price action like it could go either direction. And I've kind of drawn out my scenarios here. The yellow is my bullish scenario that I think, we're basically going to hold on this trend line here. Then we'll need to break that 200-day moving average, and then we'll need to get into this previous resistance above about 41 into that channel before we can move up here for a real bull rally. And on the opposite end, guys, it's a lot easier for us right here. If we drop down, we're going to basically, kind of get into this channel where we're going to drop down into the $24,000, $23,000 range that a few people have talked about from before. And from there, we don't know what's going to happen, but eventually, long term, if we're sticking to the stock to flow model, even if we come down and retest these levels, long term, we should look to still come up and have another bull run later this summer, early fall. Okay, so regardless of what's happening here short term, there's going to be a big move either to the upside or downside, basically within the next week or two. I'm still maintaining my bullish sentiment overall in the long-term market, guys. I'm holding here into late summer, early fall, most of my coins. We'll see at that point if I'm either going to sell off here for, massive loss, or then we'll just hold them through and hopefully it comes back, or hopefully we'll be back up in major gains. So again, guys, I can't predict the future, but what I can tell you is we're hitting a point on the X where we need to move one direction or the other. And even if we continue to maintain sideways, currently that's looking a little more bullish. Even coming down into the RSI, you can see We touched here at the very bottom of the relative strength index around April 26th, and then came back up here in May, which was like the final sell-off, right? That was the last sell-off, and then we just dropped all the way down here, down into, you know, the middle of May was that big sell-off, and we've never been as low as that again, so we're moving up. So as long as we maintain that as kind of the bottom, we are in an uptrend here, and we could, you know, it definitely does like a little zigzag action, so we could, you know, come down again before we go back up. But overall, I'm looking at that as kind of the bottom here, and, you know, moving back up into these previous ranges on the relative strength index. Those are really the three indicators I like to look at, guys. I like to look at the MACD, I like to look at the RSI, and I like to look at any patterns forming, previous resistances and trends on the market. And everything I'm looking at here does indicate a move to the upside. However, it could be a fake out, and again, we could drop back down and have loss. If you guys are looking to make a trade in either direction, you guys can sign up for either Binance or Bybet and trade on leverage if you're an expert trader. I do have several video tutorials on each. I recently created a new tutorial for beginner traders. So if you guys are just new to trading, you want to get into trading cryptocurrency, I have a video for you that should be popping up above now and will be linked in the description and probably showing up at the end of this one. Make sure you're paying close attention to the market if you're in a trade, because as I mentioned, we are at a point where we're going to have a movement either way, either up or down. You don't want to get caught not paying attention and get liquidated on a trade, or even potentially not take a nice massive gain when it is presented. Personally, I'm looking for a long. I want to stay above that trend line and possibly open up a long into the $40,000 range that we had previously marked out. If you enjoyed this video, please do slap a thumbs up on it, guys. Make sure you share it on social media. Sub to the channel if you enjoyed the content and you want future videos. The bell to be notified as soon as they drop. Members only will get you a few extra perks. Happy crypto, and let's keep getting that coin.